I've visited galleries across the country, and I studied abroad in Italy when I was in college, and I spent a whole year visiting art museums and art galleries, but I've never visited one like Ipso.
It's a creative culture that influences the entire region.
We were at Pizza Ranch. We had a lunch in Brandon. It was before we moved, and we had the idea of having a gallery in our space.
You know, we were going to have art shows in there. Outside of that, we didn't really have expectations. We didn't know what we were getting into.
We didn't have a strategy. We just wanted to showcase creativity. What we didn't understand at the time were the benefits of doing it this way. We don't have to rely on sales, and Mike and Ted have generously, and very generously, designated a space in this whole footprint as a space where we just feature works of art.
I have been making art my whole life, and that's all I've done for a job. Ipso is vastly different from the traditional galleries that I've showed in over the years. They're usually owned or run by an entity, and you're just there for the show. You drop off your work or you have an opening, and it's not personal. And Ipso is very personal.
Ipso has the best openings in town. It's like one of those places where on Friday night when it's an opening, you gotta be there.
We're always wanting to make it special. You know, like Ipso's a really special thing to us. You come into the gallery, you know, you should be able to know right away that this is a special night here.
It's not this separate entity. It's integrated into what people at Fresh Produce do. And really, I think the relationships between everyone with the artist is what makes it very unique. A lot of other people that work in Fresh Produce have their foot in the art world, either as exhibiting artists or as writers or as production people that understand sort of the world of making art and trying to show art.
Maybe the part that I enjoy the most is the work that our crew does and the excitement that our crew has preparing for a show.
The whole space is kind of buzzing on an Ipso day, but we all have our responsibilities. I clean the chalkboards. I go and get the flowers. Actually, do you have responsibilities on Ipso Day?
Pretty much cut me out of it.
Mike doesn't do anything, but I clean the chalkboards and I get the flowers.
Something that I really appreciate about Ipso and Fresh Produce is the sense of humor and the playfulness. Every single title and every single exhibit is so thoughtfully curated and so thoughtfully constructed.
I think Liz has always had a more broader outlook on what art is. I think the value is in the idea that art isn't only necessary or only used as a merchandise or as something to sell. I think Ipso always pushes the idea or overriding idea of art.
Original objects created with intention, born out of creativity, are magnificent things. And to feature and highlight and share that with people, I think is a really glorious mission for anybody.
Well, from the beginning of the space, we wanted to raise money for the arts. We wanted to come up with something that kind of captured the energy of Ipso. And so creating this lucky number concept where, it's a bit of a lottery, it's a bit of a game.
I always tell Ted that he needs to start calling it Thunderdome. It's chaos, but it's also kind of controlled.
Well, one of the things I like about the way the Ipso shows work from a sponsor point of view is they work it out so that the artists get some money, and then a charitable contribution is also made. It's a great opportunity to meet some emerging artists, some artists that I may not be familiar with.
Our past identity was really as something young and new and fresh. But what we are now, I think, is critical to Sioux Falls in that we are showcasing works that are not otherwise around.
I think what's unique about Ipso is that their shows make you think. They make meaningful connections with the people who go to their shows, and they spark conversations that matter.
We featured work from the 1970s and 60s, artists in their 80s, very young, emerging artists straight out of college or still in college. There's not really a demographic. There is usually an intellectual or conceptual tie that we have with these artists.
You know, the one thing that all the artists that we show have in common is that they're doing something that we're curious about.
That's part of the community of Ipso.
When we started out, we didn't know all that much about art. We didn't really know how to talk about art. We knew that it was important in our business, and we were definitely curious about it. Ipso plays that role, hopefully, in the community. Like it's a space where we are continuing to learn about art and the role it plays in our culture. What an actual art gallery is and what Ipso has grown into is way different than maybe what we had in mind.
I don't know if we set out at the beginning like, hey, we're going to create Ipso so that we can build this community. I think that community is a byproduct of just doing something you really love.
I mean, this is where we celebrate art. This is where we celebrate the things that we love.
Our ambitions grow every year. I can only imagine we'll get even more ambitious. I don't even know what that means.
A gift shop of like coin purses.
Yeah, coin purses and
I would love that, or keychains, just a keychain store. It could become a keychain store.